everybody. Jeff Antoniuk here. Welcome to Guided Listening this week. So this week, Freddie Hubbard, the album Ready for Freddie, and the song BirdLike. It's an incredible blues, an F concert blues, and it's got this cool intro to it with, the rhythm section is pretty involved with some hits around that. So it's, I was just talking to somebody on Facebook about this today, that it's a cool blues head, but a lot of folks don't know the intro, and it's kind of fun when we get to play the intro, when, the bass and the drums and the piano, everybody knows the part. So Freddie Hubbard solo on this, it's crazy. I want to say it's 18 choruses, and it's very, very interesting. So we're going to talk about the shape of his solo relative to, blues playing in general and some of the other solos on the album. On the album is McCoy Tyner on piano, Elvin Jones on drums, so both associated with John Coltrane, of course, Wayne Shorter on the tenor saxophone, Freddie Hubbard on piano, Art Davis on bass, and Bernard McKinney, I think I got that right, on euphonium of all things. So yeah, it's cool to have this other trombone-like but not trombone voice on the album. So we're going to hear solos by many of those folks. And I want to point out, if you're watching this in real time, today's Friday, we do these videos every Friday. At this very moment, I am teaching the Jazzwire Winter Summit. We have folks from across Europe, the US, and Canada doing this online workshop with us. So I know we're having a good time, and it's awesome to be able to be two places at once. So we're going to jump into this thing pretty quickly. It's a 10-minute long track. And the main, aside from the astounding groove, the drive of what's going on, I want you to listen to the phrasing of Freddie's solos. So now what I'm going to tell you out of the gate to listen for is, I want to say he plays 18 choruses. Every chorus begins at the beginning and it ends at the end of the chorus. And with only one exception does he play from the end of the chorus into the top of the second. Every chorus is this perfect short story, beginning and done. And now here's a second one, beginning and done. Now here's a third one, and he does this 18 times, except for one time, if I'm not mistaken. And if you could take those 18 choruses and put them in almost any order, I would say. So now this is interesting because I have a lot of adult students, all the folks that I work with inside Jazzwire and in Jazz Band Masterclass here in the real world. And we all get very excited and worried about how we should connect everything, and everything should be connected and everything should be motivic. And sure, yeah, that's great. Those are great goals, but that's actually not how most of the greats play. Freddie Hubbard is playing very, I want to say, episodically, and even within a given chorus, there's sort of a template of what he does. He begins with an idea. Often he'll repeat it or develop it for 4 measures, sometimes 6 or 8 measures. And then he plays some 2-5 kind of, ending sort of unrelated thing for the last 4. So he plays something, usually it hangs out for 4 measures, sometimes for 6 or 8, plays something totally different, ends. That's it. And then do that 18 times. And as I was saying, I think we could put those in any order and it would work just fine and you wouldn't notice. So that's sort of an interesting lesson to us as we're playing, that it gives us permission that not everything needs to be connected to every other chorus and all that. It's lovely when that happens. That's a cool way of playing, but that is not how Bird played. That is not how Freddie played, typically speaking. Interesting, right? So it gives us permission to play in a way, and it also gives us a sense of how to listen in. Wayne Shorter's solo, very different, because he's Wayne Shorter. He's allowed to be very different, and we hear that. We're going to hear a bit from McCoy, a bit from Art Davis as well. So let's jump into this thing and be listening for what I was talking about. And this is our intro. Melody. And you hear some harmony? I thought I heard some harmony. Those are wrong notes. It's all unison. All right, Freddie solo. Done. Next chorus. Done. Third chorus. And did you hear that idea, that motif that lasted 4 measures? Done. Man, is that swinging. The momentum in Freddie's 8 notes. Oh my God. That's the only time he plays from one chorus into another, if I'm not mistaken. Done. Repeat. So he played that motif 3-4 times, right? And now, just great bebop here. Done. Eight measures of that idea and bebop. Done. Amazing, right? Done. And just even that shape and that idea that he repeats for 8 measures and now bebop. Done. And now Elvin's starting to catch on, and at the end of the choruses, he's doing some great fills into the top of the next chorus. So we didn't have a big fill that time. That's a cool line Freddie plays there. Up a major third. So he left a space, Elvin filled in that time. Just listen to Art Davis on the bass, just how that, it is so driving, so driving. Woo! So it sounds like he's winding down a little bit, right? But I guess he's not done. He had one more in there. Another one. That motivic stuff. That template. It's really templated. Again, motivic for 8 measures. Wow. Amazing. Did you hear Elvin changed cymbals? I'm pretty sure at the end of Freddie's solo, he changed the sound of the drums, different cymbal. So we hear Wayne Shorter being more motivic through his playing. And Wayne's playing is a little unglued here. His fingers and his tongue and his air are not quite connecting. There's some kind of squirreliness at the beginning of the solo, and he kind of gets his feet under him, I think, a little better as he goes along. You kind of hear how his articulation is kind of heavy and getting disconnected from his playing. It sounds like Wayne, you know, I'm not angry at him, but it sounded a little funny. Whew. Does it feel like he has more wind in his sails now? I think so. interesting. I think I hear Elvin kind of more involved a little bit as Wayne is playing. He's playing in a way that isn't so strict within the time, the way Freddie was. So I think it's giving Elvin a little more invitation to play with him and get involved with him. And he's playing more rhythmic kind of material, whereas Freddie was just playing, you know, those great killer eighth notes with momentum. Wayne being Wayne. Nice and weird, huh? Euphonium. And now notice how Elvin is much less active on the drums. He's just, you know, laying it down, right? So, listening to McCoy Tyner's comping. So there are rhythms that he'll get into, that he'll stay with for periods of time to help drive and propel things. See if you can listen back and listen to some of McCoy's rhythms that he repeats over and over again. How driving this is. Try playing along with this album. And just play anything you want. Just play your own blues solo. Don't worry about transcribing. And feel the force of this rhythm section. So if you're a bass player, drummer, piano player, guitar player, this is what you're trying to create. This feel of tempo and urgency, but not rushing. Driving momentum, but it's not always aggressive and loud. So that's the magic that's happening here. So it's great to listen to a piano player and how their left hand is supporting their right hand at times, or how it's talking to it. They're doing sort of opposite things, or how the left hand's cheering the right hand on. There's a number of ways to do it. So that whole period, he was just comping for himself as if he was comping for somebody else. You hear how the comping and Elvin are hitting together. Solo going on here, and the left hand is playing with the drums. And now block chords, the hands locked and moving together. Fascinating. And so Elvin, as soon as the bass solo starts, about a measure in, Elvin stops the cymbal. The hi-hat was still going, then he stopped that. Done. So now here's the thing, the tempo is still going. I think that's where we are. Fifth measure, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so that's a skill you want to have, is to be able to feel and keep the time when it's just bass or just drums, a drum solo. One chorus and we're out. Man, oh man. Oh my gosh. So the energy, the feel on that. And I'm able to hear the bass pretty well with, you know, headphones, and it's well recorded and everything. And to hear the propulsion, I could just listen to the bass and Elvin Jones all day long, just that. But Freddie's solo, I was intrigued to hear that. I've listened to this album many times over the years, but never really noticed that, of how 17 out of 18 choruses did not connect. They were literally their own short film. 18 short films in a row, no connection to speak of. And yeah, I guess, somebody could transcribe them and maybe they could find one or two things, but that's just not how he was thinking. Every chorus began with a new idea, a new motif. Here, let's try this and see how long that idea goes for. Might be 2 measures, might be 4, might be 8. And always that last measure, or the last 4, was pretty much just great, bebop lines. So, wow, there's a lot there. So there's a lot to imitate, a lot to realize isn't happening, and that's not a bad thing, but we have these imaginations of how the greats play, and sometimes those aren't correct, right? Like, old jazz wives' tales. So, yeah, I don't think that's a thing, but yeah, I think there's a lot to be learned from the phrasing that Freddie does here. So I hope that was interesting to you. If you haven't heard this recording before, go listen to it without me talking over top. It's really good. The whole album is fantastic. So thank you for tuning in. I got to get back to the Jazzwire Winter Summit, which is happening right now. Of course, we have the Summer Summit, which happens in person here in the Washington, D.C. area in July of 2024. It sells out super early. A couple of the guitar spots sold out before we even announced the dates. People just held it from last year. So if this is something you're interested in, write us an email. I don't have the dates off the top of my head. I think I have them, July 24 through 27, 2024. So if you think you might be interested, we can hold a spot for you. But get rolling. We book up 4 or 5 months in advance. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Have a good week.